Now, it is Climate Week, 7 days where world leaders and experts get together in New York to try and find tangible solutions to the environmental crisis facing our planet. The aviator Bertrand Piccard flew on the first solar-powered flight all around the world, and he was one of those experts invited to speak in New York this week. Now, though, he's in Paris and he joins me on set. Good morning to you, and thank you for coming in. First of all, we'll talk policy in a minute, but we have to ask you first of all about that solar-powered flight around the world. What was it like? Were you ever scared in the plane?
No, what makes me really afraid is not to fly a solar-powered airplane, but rather to live in a world that burns 1 million tons of oil every hour, destroys the biodiversity, destroys the environment, changes climate. This is really frightening. But flying in a plane that has no noise, no fuel, no pollution, it's a dream. You have the impression to be in the future. And actually, it's not the future, it's the present. The technologies of today allow to do this today. Yeah. And then you realize that it's the rest of the world that is in the past with polluting and inefficient infrastructures and technologies.
Yeah, so perhaps, we have the technological capacity to do this today, but you were just two people in that plane. This is not a realistic solution for commercial air travel, is it?
No, but when the first airplane ever flew in 1903, there was one pilot, 0 passenger. It was flying 200 meters at 40 kilometers per hour. And 66 years later, you had 2 men on the moon. So you have to start by something. We showed it was possible. We showed that clean technologies and renewable energies can achieve things that are considered to be impossible. And now we just have to go further and implement all these technologies in all the fields that we have, in mobility, construction, industry, agriculture, and so on. And that's really my action now with the Solar Impulse Foundation.
If we're not at that stage yet where we can fly solar power, the rest of us around the world, what do you think the rest of us should do about our flying habits? Do you ascribe to this idea of flight shaming, that people should feel bad about the amount of flights they take and should try to take far less?
If you just focus on one problem like aviation, you forget all the others. And aviation is really not the thing that is polluting the most. Watching videos of sex and cats produces as much CO2 as half of all the air transport. So we really have to put everything into perspective. What I think today is that when we pollute with anything, we have to compensate. And it would be really interesting if airlines spontaneously would say, we put in the price of the ticket, of the flight ticket, the airfare, we put a price for CO2. Flying low cost in Europe, it's only €5 to compensate the CO2. It's nothing. People would not even notice it. And that would solve a big part of the problem. In addition, of course, naturally, you have to go into more efficient ways to fly, hybrid airplanes, electric airplanes. But this is not for today. It's for, I would say, after tomorrow.
So you've got some pretty radical environmentally friendly plans afoot then. So tell us, you're at the UN this week. What did you pitch to world leaders there, and what kind of reaction did you get?
What I'm saying is that the market of the century that will create jobs, that will generate profit, is to replace the old polluting systems, infrastructures and products by modern, efficient products, infrastructures and technologies that will protect the environment. If you do that, you make a shift to electric mobility, houses that are not consuming more energy than what they produce, new industrial processes, efficient cooling, lighting and heating systems, new sources of energy. All this today is profitable. It is much more profitable to produce electricity with solar panels and wind in most parts of the world than with oil, gas or coal.
Yeah, and does that mean that your argument actually is directed perhaps not at individuals, but at big businesses and saying, you can be a capitalist, you can seek to make money,
yes,
but you can also be an environmentalist, is that right?
Absolutely, completely. Protection of the environment, thanks to the technological evolution, has become profitable. But when you say we can be capitalist, we should really be capitalist in the sense that we grow the capital. In that sense, we make everybody take part of this profit. And today we are not capitalist. because we're not growing the capital, we're destroying the capital. Today, we are destroying natural capital. We're destroying the capital of natural resources. We're destroying the capital of health by introducing toxical chemical things into the food. And all this is allowed. And the worst of it is that we're introducing inequalities in the world because we squeeze the people so much with very low salaries that we destroy the human capital. So all this is completely irrational. We are greedy on the short term, and we're going to go bankrupt on the medium and long term.
We are running out of time, but very briefly before I let you go, I have to ask you, you've flown around the world in a solar-powered plane. What's your next adventure? Where are you going?
The next adventure now is to go around the world again, but with this portfolio of 1,000 solutions that protect the environment in a profitable way. This is what I'm doing with the Solar Impulse Foundation. And we'll go back to all these heads of states, because now I know most of them, they know me. I want to give them the tools, technological tools, so they can reach their goals. Because they set now quite ambitious goals for 2050, but they have no idea how to reach them. So I want to show them which is the technological way that can help them to reach these goals.
All right, and I wish you lots of luck on that adventure. That is Bertrand Piccard talking to me here this morning on the programme. Thank you very much for your time. If you are just joining us on France 24 this hour, though, let's remind you of a developing story we're watching for you here in France. A large fire has broken out in the early hours this morning in a chemical factory in the north of France. More than 130 firefighters are at the scene and schools are closed today in the area.